Welcome to another deep dive. You know, we love to take classic literature, really break it down, and this time we're going to tackle Jane Eyre.
One of the great
Absolutely. And this is perfect. If you're a lit student, you know, you've probably got to read it for class. This will be great for you. But even if you're not, I think we can all learn a thing or two from Jane's story.
Yeah, Jane Eyre, it's more than just a love story. It's really a story about a woman's journey of self-discovery.
Right, and it's told in such an interesting way. Like the whole novel is structured in these distinct stages, almost like chapters in her life.
It is. It follows that classic Bildungsroman structure.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, I should get it right.
I don't even want to attempt it. But you know what it means? Like a coming-of-age story? We see her grow and evolve as she goes through these different experiences.
Exactly. And there are 5 key stages that we're going to look at.
5 key stages. Okay, so stage 1, Gateshead. That's where it all begins. Poor little orphan Jane living with her aunt and cousins, who are not the nicest bunch.
Not at all. She faces a lot of cruelty and neglect.
Yeah, and that Red Room incident, it always gives me chills. It's like this early trauma that really foreshadows a lot of her later struggles with power and authority.
Right. It's like Bronte is setting the stage for Jane's rebellious spirit.
Oh, yeah, she's definitely got a rebellious streak. And then from that horrible situation, she gets sent off to Lowood, a charity school, which is not exactly a picnic either.
No, it's pretty grim, harsh conditions, a typhus epidemic, even the death of Helen Burns, her close friend at the school. It's a lot for a young girl to handle.
It's like one challenge after another for Jane.
Yeah.
But you know what's amazing? She doesn't break. She uses these experiences to become stronger.
Right. She develops this incredible resilience.
And that resilience leads her to Thornfield Hall, where we enter a whole new world.
Thornfield. The grand estate with all its secrets and, of course, the mysterious Mr. Rochester.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Rochester. You can't forget him. He's like the ultimate Byronic hero, brooding, passionate, and hiding some serious skeletons in his closet.
Literally skeletons in the closet.
Right. The whole atmosphere at Thornfield is so Gothic.
Right.
It's like Bronte is playing with these elements of suspense and mystery.
Exactly. And those elements are so important. They foreshadow a lot of what's to come, especially the revelation of Bertha Mason, the infamous madwoman in the attic.
Ooh, Bertha. Now, there's a character that gets people talking. She's often portrayed as a simple villain, but there's so much more to her, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Bertha is complex. She's a symbol of the societal constraints placed on women during that time period. Trapped in a marriage she didn't want labeled as mad and locked away.
It's almost like she represents everything Jane fears. The loss of freedom and autonomy, being silenced and controlled.
Exactly. And Bronte also uses Bertha's character to touch on issues of race and colonialism, adding even more depth to the story.
It makes you realize that Jane's personal struggles are happening against this backdrop of larger societal issues. It's not just a simple love triangle. It's a commentary on power, gender, and the very foundations of the British Empire. And through it all, Jane never wavers in her own sense of morality. She refuses to be Rochester's mistress, even though she's head over heels in love with him.
It's a powerful statement. She chooses self-respect over passion and security, even when it means walking away from everything she thought she wanted.
It takes serious guts to do that, especially in that time period. And it raises a huge question. Can you truly be happy without freedom and independence?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's one that Jane continues to grapple with as the story unfolds.
And speaking of grappling, things are about to get even more complicated for Jane. That's where we're going to leave it for now, but don't worry, we'll be back in a flash to pick up the story and explore what happens next. So Jane's got a tough choice to make. Does she go with her heart or follow what society expects of her?
You know, it's like that age-old dilemma, passion versus duty.
Right, and Bronte really puts Jane through the ringer with this one.
Oh, yeah, she does. Because just when you think she's about to make a sensible choice, bam, something crazy happens.
That mysterious voice calling her name across the moors. I mean, come on.
Almost like a supernatural intervention.
Totally throws a wrench in things. I'd be freaked out.
Yeah.
What would you do? Would you ignore it, or would you be like Jane and just run back to Thornfield?
Well, she gets back there and finds Thornfield and ruins a total shell of its former self.
Talk about symbolism. The destruction of Bertha's rage. And I guess you could even say the crumbling facade of Victorian society, too.
Yeah, there are definitely those parallels.
And then Bertha's, she doesn't make it.
No, it's a tragic end for her leaping from the burning house.
I always felt so much sympathy for Bertha. Even though she was considered the madwoman, she was a victim of circumstance.
Absolutely. And her death sort of clears the way for Jane and Rochester to start over, but on much different terms this time.
Right. Rochester's no longer the wealthy, powerful guy he used to be. He's humbled, brought low.
Totally dependent on Jane. Now it's a complete role reversal.
And Jane, she still loves him, goes back to him. But this time it's on her terms.
She's not that meek governess anymore.
Definitely not. She's calling the shots.
Which is what makes her such a strong female character.
So they get married. It's not a fairy tale ending, though, is it?
Not really. I mean, there's happiness, but it's hard-won.
Built on tragedy, sacrifice, loss.
And Rochester gets some of his sight back just enough to see their newborn son, which I guess is supposed to be hopeful.
I guess. But still bittersweet.
Hmm.
It makes you wonder if Jane really got her happy ending, or if she settled.
Right. Did she compromise her own dreams for the sake of love?
It's a question that's been debated for centuries. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this book. It leaves you with questions, challenges you to think for yourself.
Now, what if Jane Eyre was written today in the 21st century?